Well, hi, and welcome to another episode of Missouri Athletic Club Connections. It's a podcast highlighting Missouri's only premier athletic club. The MAC is recognized as the foremost private club in St. Louis, known for attracting exceptional people and enriching lives for generations. I'm MAC Membership Director Rodney Stoyer, and today we are talking about all of the amazing things the MAC Art Society is doing around the club. We will speak with some of the experts on the subject today. So with me today, I have got, I'm going to use the correct vernacular, past governor of the club, Kim DeMott, and current, I always say doctor, but Dr. Governor, current governor of the club, Adrian DiBicelli. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, first, let's tell us a little bit about the Art Society in general, where we're at, and of course, how you both got involved. Whoever would like to go first.
Well, the Art Society, if you will, is the new version of the old Art Foundation.
Yeah.
As the Art Foundation wound down, it became evident that the club needed some help in guidance of what to do with their artwork, when to repair it, how to replace it, what needed to be done with it from time to time. And we assembled a little group of people who were aficionados and started to advise. That's how we came about. One of the things that has happened in the past 2 to 3 years, I believe, is that we've matured to the point where art, in our definition, in this art culture, is no longer just paintings and sculpture. We've moved on to the performance arts, we've moved on to architecture, we've moved on to lots of other things that we want to try as we move forward to enhance the membership experience here at the MAC.
Yeah, which is wonderful. And this is a perfect segue into the music side of things, which is we get a lot of wonderful ideas from our members, a lot of wonderful ideas in the club. Sometimes it's just a matter of where does that fit, right? And so I think we found that fit. So, Governor DiBicelli, tell us a little bit about your involvement in the Art Society.
So I've been a part of the group that's been talked about, this leadership group, because I'm interested in the arts, but then also because I'm currently on the governing board. And that has allowed me to talk about the idea of having music as part of the Art Society. It might be renamed the Arts Plural Society, perhaps, in the future. But we often have music playing in the background while we're having a meal or having a drink. But I think the idea here has been to really focus on the music, whether it be classical music or maybe jazz in the future or other kinds of music, perhaps vocal music, and as we think about the other arts, but we thought that music and focusing on music would be a good step for us.
Absolutely. And again, with those same tie-ins, it was just discussed recently at a little conversation about blues and the tie-in to the blues here in St. Louis and how that can fit in as well. So wonderful to add that whole cultural aspect and what a great place to have that housed within our Art Society.
Absolutely, and speaking about that, the venue, our home for the Art Society is the Art Lounge in the Downtown Clubhouse, and just being in that lounge is inspiring. Seeing the artworks and feeling the ambiance and the history of that room, it calls for music and for all of the arts.
Right. And I think another very important thing to mention is, art takes on different forms. Obviously we have some very notable, very valuable paintings, things like that. But even from the music standpoint, obviously, excellent job. Ariana String Quartet, relationship with the St. Louis Symphony. But, we all love our beloved Jen Asia, who comes in and plays piano in the Art Lounge as well. And it's really nice to see those things, even if it's not the focus isn't the art, meaning the piano performance, but still being a part of the club. So wonderful uses of the Art Lounge. Love that. I love it all. So again, how did the Art Society evolve a little more? You kind of mentioned it briefly, but where, I guess maybe I should say this another way. Let's segue into where you're headed. Is that a fair way to say this? Where's the Art Society headed?
Well, I think we're experimental. I think we're going to try a lot of things. We've kind of declared 2025 as the year of the architect. We're going to be starting with the introduction of the door replicas from the Ebsworth home, which Catherine Felt will talk about a little later. They get here in next week, I believe, January 15th. Kind of unceremoniously, they're going to be placed. That's followed February 4th by the classical St. Louis Classical Guitar Society. And then we'll have a grand opening. We haven't even found a name for it yet, but the grand opening for the Frank Lloyd Wright doors on March 18th.
18th. Yeah.
Okay. That's where we're headed in the near future. We'll have more architecture and more music as the year progresses. So stay tuned.
Well, a wonderful progression, absolutely wonderful, and we love where it's going. And I think obviously the interest is gaining. You're seeing attendance gained at some of our events, which is wonderful as well. So again, the Art Society has a whole lot planned for us for the beginning of 2025 or the whole year of 2025. So we'll just go in order and we'll bring in an expert from this year's first showcase. How's that sound?
Wonderful.
Great.
Sounds good.
All right, with us now is Catherine Felt, the executive director of the Frank Lloyd Wright House in Ebsworth Park. Thanks so much for coming in, Catherine.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Well, great. It's wonderful. So the MAC is hosting an exhibit from the Frank Lloyd Wright House. How did the MAC get chosen for this temporary home?
Well, if I may, just to give a little bit of context, because the house is still a bit of a hidden gem. The house was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright for Russell and Ruth Krauss in 1951. And it is an extraordinary example of what is referred to as Usonian architecture. Frank Lloyd Wright was really committed for middle-class Americans to have access to beautiful homes. So the nonprofit organization that I'm part of purchased the house from Russell Krauss in the early 2000s, and it's been open as a public site, as a house museum since that point. We every year welcome thousands of visitors from all over the world and have hundreds of students really inspired by this architecture. So to answer your question,
Yes.
when most of our tours and programming happens at the house, but we do have an exhibition piece that's a life-size replica of our terrace doors, and it's been installed in various community venues. And for this year, we really wanted to identify an organization that really valued historic preservation and the impact of architects in enhancing our architectural landscape. And so, of course, the MAC was an obvious choice, and the Art Society and the MAC really embraced it. So we have been so excited and so supported by this partnership. So we're excited that we're going to be able to do this installation next week.
Absolutely. It's coming, which is wonderful. So finally here, I guess is what we should say.
Yes,
That we're finally here. It's going to finally be in the building. So that's fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit more about his work? Just some background. You mentioned the history of the actual house, but can you tell me a little bit more about his work? You mentioned style and some of those things, but
Sure.
what other tidbits?
Well, I think most people recognize the name.
Yeah.
And he's considered one of our country's great architects. What's interesting about sort of his legacy here in St. Louis is that, most people do think of him as someone who designed iconic properties like Falling Water and the Guggenheim. And even though Frank Lloyd Wright had a career that had a lot of peaks and valleys, when in the 1950s, he was like a rocket. He was doing amazing things, but he was always committed to democratic sensibility. He wanted middle-class Americans to have access to truly American architecture, something they can afford. And when Russell and Ruth Krauss, a Kirkwood couple, just starting their lives together, read about someone who had designed a home for $5,000 and all the beer the contractor could drink, they're like, we're in. So they wrote to Frank Lloyd Wright 3 days later, despite his very busy schedule at that point. He wrote back and said, condense your needs, I shall design you a house. So it's a very interesting history of the Frank Lloyd Wright House in Ebsworth Park, originally known as the Krauss House. And we are fortunate to have that legacy to share with the public.
Which is wonderful and so beautifully dovetails into our Art Society. So on that topic, because the exhibit is really what this is about, where are we going to have it displayed and how long is it going to be there and how long can our members see it?
Well, our staff and the Ebsworth staff are going to be installing these doors on the west wall of the Art Lounge next week.
Great. January 15th.
Kind of unceremoniously,
Sure.
because we have lots of things going on. But for the time being, they will be there and they will be open to be seen. Catherine's excitement about being at the MAC is only overwhelmed by our excitement to have it here.
have it, right.
I'm not sure who seduced who here, but we're
Right.
all very, very happy
Right.
to be involved in this partnership. The concept of this historical representation sitting in the middle of our historical art lounge is just wonderful. I couldn't be happier.
Wonderful. Now, again, it's going to be on exhibit for quite some time, so we're going to have it here for months, well into the fall. But any specific events or anything to celebrate this?
Funny you should ask.
Yeah.
Yes, we're having a grand opening, if you will, a kickoff of our 2025, the Year of the Architect, with a reception and an introduction. You'll be able to rub shoulders with architects and Ebsworth people, Frank Lloyd Wright people. We expect to have a pretty full art lounge of a very eclectic group of people.
Yeah, and that'll be on March 18th, correct? Okay, wonderful. Catherine, anything else to add about the celebrities in the house, if you will, for that event?
Well, you'll have Frank Lloyd Wright, represented certainly, and that's
Sure.
a fun celebrity to have part of this celebration. But at the opening event in March, we'll have Wright scholars, we'll have faculty members that really understand the role that Frank Lloyd Wright and other architects played in developing this amazing architectural history and landscape. We will have our board members, we'll have other people that are really passionate about architecture and design, so it should be an amazing event. And the other thing I want to make sure everyone understands is that the Frank Lloyd Wright House in Ebsworth Park is a public site. It's available for guided tours. It's very simple to book a tour. You just go onto our website, ebsworthpark.org, and sign up for a tour that's led by a very passionate docent.
Right.
And so we really welcome members and friends to have that experience.
Well, and I think that, and I know this happens with other Frank Lloyd Wright properties around the country, but what a wonderful opportunity that it is open to the public, that the public can view this house. So really, this is only the tip of the iceberg, is giving you this exhibit here, having all of these talks, having everything go on here at the MAC, but the ability to actually go ahead and go visit the home as well is pretty spectacular.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, anything else our listeners should know about the upcoming Year of the Architect? Also, anything else about this exhibit?
Year of the Architect will have at least one more event of architectural nature
Great.
In the September-October timeframe. Haven't quite pinned it down yet.
I love teasers. Teasers.
Teasers. Be there or be square. We'll be associated with some more music, as
Absolutely.
Dr. DiPicelli pointed out. We're taking our role as quickly as we can grow.
Yeah.
From starting off in an advisory role to starting to hold events and bring people into the club and hopefully positively affect your membership numbers, right?
Well, I would agree with that, and I would say, here's my turn to coin a phrase, which is you're leading the culture of the club. That's really where we're looking to. So we definitely thank you for that. So again, both of you, thank you so much for joining us. The expertise, Catherine, has been wonderful. Again, Catherine Felt, the executive director of the Frank Lloyd Wright House in Ebsworth Park. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Returning to the pod is Governor DiPicelli and past Governor DeMott. The Frank Lloyd Wright doors sound incredible. What an exciting opportunity for the Missouri Athletic Club to be in our home for a period of time. That's wonderful. So how did the Art Society recently ventured into musical arts? How did that all really get started? Where was the ground floor of getting into the musical arts?
Well, I would leave that to Governor Bicelli. He's the one who put together the Ariana String Quartet, which was spectacular.
Right.
Adrian?
Well, again, it's something that I enjoy and know a little bit about. I don't play an instrument myself, but I thought chamber music would be very nice in the Art Lounge. And then I thought to myself, well, what do I know about chamber music in St. Louis? Well, the Ariana String Quartet obviously sprang to mind, and we had a wonderful concert with them, with some discussion and question and answer, with about close to 100 people attending. So the next chamber music group that came to mind was the St. Louis Classical Guitar Society. And they have agreed to come and visit with us and perform some and answer some questions on February the 4th. So the Art Lounge is a perfect setting for a small group like that. Mm-hmm. I will just mention, in addition to this is not directly from the Art Society, but our speaker series is having in May now the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, come and bring with her 2 or 3 musicians, probably a brass ensemble, and they'll do the same thing but on a bigger scale. Larger attendance will be in the Missouri Ballroom, maybe with a couple of hundred people there, and a longer program as well.
Yeah, wonderful idea. And, you touched on something that I think, it's going to sound like a membership sales pitch, but one of the things that makes this club so great is the passion. And, you mentioned like, hey, maybe I can't play the instruments, but it's your passion, correct? I mean, that's what leads you down this path, and the club's the one that benefits for it, our membership benefits. So we love the passion, keep bringing that along. Now, with these events that we're planning, dinner ahead of these performances, what are the formats for these events?
So the chamber music concerts it's experimental. We're finding our way, but here's the format that has worked. Don't make the program too long. Maybe a cocktail before, then some programming, music, question and answer. Maybe talk to the musicians, and then dinner afterwards. Retire to the Jack Buck Grill or the Rendezvous Room, and there's a planned dinner, a set menu dinner that's available to members who sign up.
Right. Wonderful format.
Shuttle available.
Oh, and very important to mention that the shuttle is available from the West Campus to bring people downtown and to take them back after the concert or after their dinner.
Wonderful idea. We love when you use the shuttles for that. So how can people sign up for these events?
On the app.
Perfect. Love to hear that.
You set me up for that, Rodney.
Yes.
You can sign up for the concert on the app. You can buy your tickets. You do need to call the restaurant to make reservations for dinner afterwards, but the instructions and the number to call pop up when you sign up on the app.
Right, which is wonderful. And we always tell people that we love the pitch for the app. The app has been a wonderful, wonderful tool for the club. But we always remind our members we are a private club. If you need to give us a call, if you want us to help you with that, we're here for you. So we'll always help you with that as well. Well, I tell you what, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I'm sure all of our members are excited, especially about these upcoming events and being in the mere presence of some of St. Louis' best arts and artists, as you mentioned. So thank you for tuning in to our listeners for another amazing episode of Missouri Athletic Club Connections. Stay connected with us through the events calendar, the MAC app, and social media, and we'll see you again very soon.